Wife, 32F. Desperately wants third kid and I, 33M, don't, and it's a major issue. My wife, 32F, and I, 33M, have been married 6 years, and have 2 beautiful perfectly daughters, 1F and 3F. Ever since my second was born, my wife wants a third, but I do not. I love my kids so much, but frankly, I'm exhausted, I have zero free time, it would stress us financially, we just bought a new, expensive, house and don't have enough bedrooms, the list goes on. I'm just done at 2. This has become a major issue. I have a much higher sex drive than my wife these days, we don't do it nearly as often as I'd like, and lately, whenever we do, my wife tries to convince me to try for another kid. It's like she only wants to have sex if we're trying for a kid, and that doesn't seem fair to me. Tonight that blew up into a major argument. She says a third kid is all she wants in life, and if I won't give that to her she'll just be miserable forever and resent me. I asked if we can go to couples counseling and she said no, because we just want different things and couples counseling can't fix that. She's actually a social worker and behavioral health nurse herself, so I'm not sure why she's so resistant. Well, tonight during this big argument that came from me trying to initiate sex, we obviously couldn't agree, so I said I don't know how this is going to work. She questioned if I want a divorce, and I basically said I don't know what other option there is if you hold the third kid over my head every time I try to be intimate, and we just disagree so much on this topic. She kind of lost it after that. I told her many times after that I don't want a divorce, it's honestly the last thing I want. But it wasn't much consolation. I really don't know where to go from here. I feel like a divorce would absolutely ruin my life. I love my wife, I love my kids, we have a good life. But she doesn't feel fulfilled without another kid, and I really do not want another. And our physical relationship is nowhere near where I wish it was, partially just due to exhaustion from having kids and partially lately due to this issue. How do I navigate this situation without imploding my whole life? Too long did not read. Wife wants a third kid, I don't, and it's ruining our physical relationship and creating a ton of tension between us. She needs therapy. If having a third child is so crucial to her happiness after having 2 healthy children who are 1 and 3 years old, there is some other issue about how she is framing her life, meaning that she needs to sort out. Which, to be clear, could relate to her relationship with you, or any number of things. But to simply make it a life demand, assuming you are describing your life circumstances realistically, suggests it has a meaning to her that she isn't articulating or perhaps aware of. Also, with a 1-year-old she could still frankly be having postpartum issues. And as a woman I'm not at all one to push those types of explanations, but it's a possibility to consider. I am somewhat further down this road than you, with my third child now 5. I also didn't want a third for all the reasons you describe. If I had the choice again, I would actually divorce over this. This is not a compromisable situation, and the best you can hope for is a dysfunctional relationship going forward. There is no way one of you will not end up deeply resenting the other, and quite likely both deeply resenting each other. Ironically, my third is the best of the bunch and I love him to bits, but I now have 0 of myself in any matter. A final though. A third child is an enormous change to the dynamic and amount of work. It is much more than just adding 1, 3.5 again, mainly because you are outnumbered. She says a third kid is all she wants in life, and if I won't give that to her she'll just be miserable forever and resent me. Does she realize how fucking awful this sounds? What she's saying is that you and the 2 children you already have mean jack shit to her. Or that's what it sounds like to me anyway. It sounds like the family she already has isn't and will never be enough. I would be so fucking pissed if my partner ever said that. Have you asked her why she wants a third child so badly, to the point she's jeopardizing her marriage and her 2 real children over a hypothetical one? This is not an issue you can compromise on. She stated that she would resent you forever if she doesn't get her way. That being said, if she refused to go to counseling and is not open to just having 2 children, additionally she is making sex conditional. I ask you this op, is this how you want to live your life for a minimum of 17 years until your current youngest is 18? If you're really not going to budge on the third child, it may be time to contact an attorney to figure out your options. I'd suggest bringing up therapy again. Be firm with your wife and say you want to reconnect with her, but you need a place where you both can work on your communication. If in a few years after your 2 very young kids have grown a little, perhaps you'll change your mind and be in a better financial situation for 3 kids, but right now you 2 need to focus on where you're at now. Edit. The change your mind is meant for Op directly, not for him to say to his wife. He should focus on the therapy and getting to a good place within their relationship and caring for their kids. So your choices are: you stay married and 1. No third child and she just resents the hell out of you. 2. You have a third kid and you resent the hell out of her. Or, get divorced? I can't see a win here. Sorry face with diagonal mouth. How to handle my M37 wife's F34 betrayal. It's day 9 since I found out that my wife has cheated on me with a former coworker at her old job for a period of 3 months, February to April this year. We have been together for 13 years and married for 6. We have a 4-year-old son and I am torn. Before this has happened to me, I always thought I would end it immediately, but now that it happened, I can't just forget about our past relationship or let our child suffer due to split custody. I still love her, but it also hurts so much. She claims she is poly and that she fell in love with him, M50, but they ended it before I even found out. It was something she did for herself and it had supposedly nothing to do with me. That I am a great husband and father. She says she wants to be with me and continue our future together, but is this even possible? The days since have been quite intense, we are talking a lot, we have an appointment for couples therapy on Thursday and I still feel connected to her. But it also feels like I might be rushing things in reconnecting with her, wanting her and being close to her. At the same time I am wondering if I am just functioning for our family's sake. How is it for fellow betrayed men? How did you cope? Can you recommend any male-focused podcasts or blogs? I started listening to Sam's Healing podcast, which is somewhat helpful. I left quite a few details out. My head is still jumping from one thought to another, but I hope it all makes somewhat sense. I will gladly add more info if needed. Edit 1. One thing that is not clearly explained by me is the poly thing. We did talk about it loosely before, but we were clear on having a monogamous relationship. She told me that she realized the poly thing in school already, which was never an issue for us. When previously talking about infidelity, I told her that for me it was a no-go, and she always claimed if I fell in love with someone else she could forgive that, but not a sex-focused one-night stand. I think it's crazy how people find out they're poly. Hello, you're a cheater. You took wedding vows. Is this the example you want to set for your child? You handle it by getting a lawyer and getting a divorce. Don't see any accountability from what you described and some weak excuses. Save yourself the hassle, call the lawyer and handle your business. Poly means she is a cheater. There can be no carrying on if she cannot admit and show remorse. You will think about him being with her when you are. Can you live with that? Sad face, you sound so full of love. Don't let your son grow up thinking is it okay for him to be cheated on. You set the bar for him. This will be the first of many men she will fall in love with if she is poly. Don't live this life. Poly is bullshit. She's a cheater. Leave her, divorce her, and do what is needed to protect yourself and your kid. Don't listen to apologies or rationalizing on her part. She'll just do it again. So being newfound poly does not give her license to cheat. Tell her you think you may be poly as well and ask to bring another woman into your relationship and see where that goes. Seriously, she will cheat again to get that feeling that she is alive, something that is missing in her life right now. I would divorce her, but if you want to reconcile, she has to throw this poly crap out the window, go no contact with the affair partner and open phone policy, as well as seek counseling. Good luck. Update me. I 35M and wife 32F. How to tell my wife that her behavior is not okay. Hi, my mother passed away 2 weeks ago. I am still unsure how to handle it, process it, digest it. On outside I am fine, I eat, talk normally, spend time with wife, etc. Yesterday was her birthday. She likes to celebrate her birthdays, typically going out for a couple of days with nice dinner, etc. This time I just booked dinner. On her B-day she was sulky and angry for a few hours. When I asked, she said she was angry that we didn't celebrate at midnight. I was shocked as I did not want this drama, at least at this time. I told her how I am feeling, but she defended her position, saying she likes to celebrate birthdays and can't hide unhappiness. As I didn't do the midnight celebration, she acted sulky and angry. She also said this is how she is. She was also thinking to spend it with friends as she knew I may not feel like celebrating. I feel sad. I want to express to her that how cruel this behavior is. I think she should compromise this year and not burden me with expectations as well as anger. Rather, she should support me in my grief. I told her that in relationships we should support each other. I am unable to ignore this incident as I feel really sad that she is unable to understand my feelings and further not acknowledging that she should have acted more empathetically. No offense, but is this woman 12? Celebrate at midnight, good God. My God, if my husband's mother died I wouldn't expect him to acknowledge my birthday at all, let alone do some juvenile midnight birthday acknowledgement? Your wife is selfish. At best, she might not realize how much you're struggling if you are having a hard time expressing it. But any human being with a heart would not expect their partner to go all out for their birthday 2 weeks after the death of a parent. My God, sometimes it takes a traumatic event to realize the quality of partner you have. You lost your mother. You will likely not have such a significant loss like that again. To be honest, it doesn't sound like your wife is emotionally equipped to be in an adult relationship. This is your life. Do you want to have a partner that behaves like this? What would your mother want for you? Now that you have lost her, you need to be your own biggest advocate, and that means asking hard questions about the people and things you are investing your precious time and energy into. Does your wife invest as much energy into you as she expects you to invest in her? It sounds like your wife is being very selfish. She acknowledges that you may not feel like celebrating, but only seems concerned about that in relation to her birthday plans. I would be feeling sad too. She should be putting your needs above her own, and that would worry me if she can't do that. Is this a regular pattern? You taking care of her emotions and her doing the bare minimum for you? If so, then you might reconsider this marriage before bringing children into it. People who are so inconsiderate of their significant other rarely change. She should grow up. I, 34, left my fiancé, 31, Is there any way forward? I, 34, dumped my fiancé, 31, today, and I'm still in shock. I would often tell him he is the perfect guy like 90% of the time, but when he's stressed he is absolutely awful. This was one of those times. He was leaving for a bachelor party in a town he didn't want to go to. He was prepping Thursday night and had gotten particularly snappy. I was trying not to take it personally, help where I could, and told him if he didn't want to go he could use our new pregnancy as an excuse since we just got pregnant after a miscarriage. But Friday morning rolled around and he's still going, still snappy. I tried to schedule a lift to the airport, but he yelled at me for that. When it was finally time to go I offered to walk him down, and he passed me his suitcase to wheel behind me. When we got to the car, he put his bag in the back and without acknowledging me goes into the street to get in on the other side as his driver gets the suitcase from me. I have to remind him I exist to even get a hug. That's where it hurt. That's when it became personal. We barely talked all Friday and that was fine, but when we did he went on and on about the women approaching him, but don't worry, he's telling them all about how in love he is, and one said he renewed her faith in humanity. Gag me. I was throwing up profusely all day and unable to stomach food and I couldn't get acknowledged, but these women are worthy of your attention? Got it. The vomiting got worse, and after he was at his hotel I tried calling him to tell him I was scared. There were times I'd heave so hard I couldn't breathe for an extended amount of time. He hung up on me and put on Do Not Disturb. I tried calling his room but they had no record of anyone by his name. The next day we barely spoke. But I called him to let him know I started bleeding. He said, "Do you even care?" I was devastated he'd say that and hung up. When I cooled down and called him back he chose to ignore me for hours. When he called me back later and I didn't respond though, he left a nasty voicemail that I was being a little bitch and all his friends thought so too. I begged him to come home early. All the activities were over and there were 2 flights that night and 4 flights the next day. He could have got on before his. He didn't, and when he came home, he had the nerve to be angry at me, still bleeding. And instead of taking me to the hospital because I couldn't stomach food all weekend and might actively be miscarrying, no, he went and got himself dinner. I wish I could save this. He genuinely doesn't see what he did wrong. I'm devastated and numb. Where do I go from here? Any chance of recovery? Mending heart. Why do you want to fix this? You did nothing wrong. He's an egregiously selfish, thoughtless, verbally, mentally, and emotionally abusive boss. My dear, please remove yourself from this situation. The other 90% does not make up for this disgusting, callous behavior. If you had a daughter, sister, friend that came to you with this situation, what would you tell her? I think you know where you go from here. He is an ass. Dump him and move on. Let him know he is free to make another woman as lucky as he has made you. This guy acted with no concern for you or your pregnancy. The 90% greatness that you saw is a fantasy or this man's representative. The 10% you didn't like is the real him. He isn't trying to save or participate in the relationship. It is very good that you ended this now. He's far from the perfect guy. Your entire description of him is of a man that doesn't care about you. He doesn't even act like he likes you. Please don't take him back. You deserve to be in a relationship with someone that actually wants to be with you. You absolutely made the right decision. Sending you a big hug. There are better things coming. Did you go hospital?